It's another weekend mailbag podcast, John. These are taking off, so we'll keep doing them. People seem to like them.
I like it.
Every one we've done has gotten bigger. Saturday
Why not?
content, bonus,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
We're here for the people. We're a consumer first podcast.
That's right.
You know, if people like it, we'll do it.
It's very easy. You just iTunes question, leave a review, and in that review, leave your question. That's the mailbag.
Yeah. Could not be any easier, guy. Go to Apple
Unless
iTunes.
you have Spotify, that's where it's a challenge.
Yeah. I this weekend I'm gonna purchase the monthly subscription to Spotify.
I know, but we want people to be able to do reviews. So, like, I got a DM from a guy who's a Spotify user. Should we include that in the mailbag today?
Sure.
All right.
If you want, we don't have to.
All right.
We
Maybe
do
we'll
whatever
add
we
it
want.
as a bonus mailbag question. You know?
I like that.
Okay. So time to dive in. Before we dive in, John, two things we got to hit real quick.
Yep. MyBookie.ag, promo code HAM and the number 1. Gambling, it's full go. NCAA tournament. If you're listening to this Saturday or Sunday, Sunday night selection Sunday, so get on it. Gamble, draft, PGA Tour, you name it. UFC, got you all covered. NBA, it's
And
on
American
like Donkey
Giant.
Kong.
American-Giant. American-Giant.com. Promo code HAM. 15% off for American-made. It's all American-made. Pants, sweats, T-shirts. You want V-neck, you want a slub, you want a cotton, you want a hoodie, you want a zip, you want a moto, you want a pullover. You want women's pants, they got some different stuff. Hoodies, They got it all. They got some great, actually, I was in the store the other day. They got some great stuff for the ladies. So it's all there, man. American-Giant.com, promo code HAM. Appreciate the support.
Get on it, people. Do it now.
All right, mailbag time. Here we go. Let's dive in, and let's begin with Steamy Phil. Mailbag time. Niners DB situations, obviously a huge area of concern for Niner fans. Sounds like Trent Williams will be back, which means there's not much budget to bring in a starting corner via free agency. With the re-signing of Marcel Harris, do y'all think we could see the revival of Jimmy Ward as a corner? Also would love your insight on reasonable DBs in the free agent or the draft. P.S. Get on Spotify. Y'all really dating yourselves as millennials.
Aren't we on Spotify, the podcast?
The podcast is on Spotify. I think he means us getting on Spotify, because last time I said I was on Pandora, and then people started tweeting at me and DMing me on Instagram calling me an old man.
Yeah, I use Pandora too. No, but I don't even pay for it.
I
run out of skips.
You know what makes me old is I don't even understand why it makes me an old man. That's how you know you're old. Is I don't even get the joke. They're laughing at me. I don't know why.
I'm with you.
Well, I asked somebody and no one gave me an answer.
You want to break down Jimmy Ward's corner ability?
I like Jimmy Ward's versatility, John.
Yeah, Jimmy Ward's just not a corner. I think he's actually carved. I give Jimmy Ward a lot of credit. Wouldn't you agree that probably a couple years into his career, it looked like this is just a wasted pick. This guy's not good enough. The new 49ers brass, right? Kyle, Sala, John Lynch, they kind of revitalized him and believed in him, and he was good. I just think Jimmy Ward, if anything, is going to cover the slot. If they lose K1, which they're going to, he's going to, I'm sure, sign with the Jets for probably too much money. Just be a versatile chess piece. Play safety, play nickel corner, be in the box, be a versatile player. He's not an outside corner. I also think outside corners, I was talking to someone about this. We were talking about the draft, and he was like, my buddy in the league, he's like, have you watched any of these guys? I'm like, yeah, the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. Like, I'm not, my days of like banging out DBs have ended. But he's like, because I was like, I looked at Mel's list and DJ's list. Clearly, there are a lot of these elite DBs. And he's like, yeah, this draft is actually really good for DBs. And I'm like, I think DBs are a little overrated. Not that you don't need good ones, but I would rather
like overdrafting them.
I'd rather have a great defensive line. So like draft the Kellos, and Akello's not great, but you can make the Super Bowl with Akello playing a lot, right? If your defensive line and your front seven is good. I'm a front seven guy.
There was the AJ Bouye talk. Let me ask you this. Who do you think gets more money? K'Wan Williams, I think I know the answer to this, or Jason Verrett, I still haven't figured out, but I got nothing but respect for the guy.
K'Wan Williams.
Right. So I think maybe Verrett's back.
Yeah, I think he might be. I could see him come back like 1 year, $3 or $4 million, and just try to.
Part of it's like, I don't know, you got the best out of him, but I don't know that he did enough that somebody else would want to take the risk, even though he was healthy, right?
I would say the only way with some teams with cap space could maybe pay him more on a 1 year deal. Like, so if you're offering like $2.5 million or $3 million to someone offering like 1.6, right?
1.6.
1 year, $6 million.
Oh, so, okay.
$5 million. I don't know.
I don't know. Is he going to see somebody offering him $2 million more than the Niners are offering? Because if not, there's something to be said for a guy that's been trying to find a home, trying to find success his whole career, and he finds it.
Yeah, I agree.
So
easy to say, leaving a couple million on the table, though.
From our seat, for sure.
Was a first-round pick, so he's made some cash.
All right, next up. This is from Josh15 Can't. Love the show. I always feel like you just get me to say anything, and you're... Love the show. Must listen on the podcast lineup. I feel like the Niners need to answer this question. Has the Super Bowl window closed? It feels like the 2021 season is about finding a QB in the draft and then getting them ready for 2022. Let me know what you think the realistic goals are for the 2021 season. Well, I'll say this. The Super Bowl window for the team that they had closed, absolutely.
Doesn't exist. Over. Yeah.
The team's completely, by this year, the team's completely different, right?
Well, I'd say if Jimmy does get traded too, this team doesn't parallel that team at all, right? The quarterback changes. Like if they have a new starting quarterback and Jimmy's gone, then I'd just say like anything's on the table, right? Just in terms of like I expect them to be pretty good because of Kyle, but I don't think it's fair to say that we know that.
Right. You would say if you win 10 games but aren't a Super Bowl contender, you're on the right track, right?
Yeah, they just after the Super Bowl won 6. So I'd say winning 10 is just a big deal. Whoever's on the roster.
Well, but I think part of this question that I always go back and forth on is like, are the Warriors? The Warriors obviously their championship window closed. They can open it up again. You can open it up again, but it would be a different window because most times your championship window is only a couple of years, right? Like with a group, your franchise can open up a new window if you reset, but that group's window is very
The Patriots
small.
had 3 groups in 20 years, right?
Right?
They had the first group, then they had the Welker Randy Moss group, and then they had like the Gronk McCourty Edelman group. So they had 3 Super Bowl caliber groups. The irony is the Randy Moss and the Edelman group, or not Edelman, Wes Welker group, never won a championship. The other 2 groups won 3 each. But the Niners would just sell their left nut to win 1. I don't put, as we're talking right now, March 11th, it's impossible to feel like they're going to be a powerhouse. They're not, like, I don't know, a lot. A huge roster turnover, multiple high picks, who their quarterback is. I think we can like give hot takes right now. And listen, I'm not anti-hot take, but my point is like, I think you could give a real thought out answer post-draft. Like
I agree, but I'll say this. Let's say the Niners are a Super Bowl contender this year, that's a new window. That's not the old window.
I agree.
Because if they're a Super Bowl contender, it's whoever this quarterback is. Even if it's Jimmy, that's Ayuk, that's Kinlaw, that's not Buckner.
I think you should look at it as long as Kyle Shanahan's on your head coach. The expectation every year should be to make the playoffs. That's what good teams look at like.
Right.
If that's not the expectation, then the Niners have fallen off. Right. And I think that's a fair expectation no matter what the turnover is at quarterback or what trades or moves they make. It should be to make the playoffs this year.
For sure.
Well, John, how do you do with the rookie? Figure it out. Get the job done.
What'd they win with RG3? 8 games in Washington?
No, I think they went 10-6. They won the division. They hosted a playoff game. Yeah.
There you go. Unreal Content. Creative Mailbag. Felly Silver. Recent grad here. You guys are the cure for the entry-level work week. Thinker for the mailbag. If you were forced to give up your current career to officiate any major professional sport, which sport would you pick and why? Ooh, that's good. Okay.
Money all the same?
Yeah, I think so. Let's just say whatever. It's a good life. Let's say it's a good life.
250 grand Bennies.
Absolutely Bennies. And free upgrades. You don't have to sell your like Delta miles for the upgrades and then go back to coach and then, you're in a tax scandal like some NBA officials have been in the past.
I know 100% sport I would not do.
Hockey is absolutely on my would not do it list. I don't want to get hit by a puck.
It'd be cool to skate around.
It would be, but the puck is just, you are in a war zone nonstop.
I'd be interested to see some studies last 5 years, how many times they've been hit.
I feel like they never get hit.
Yeah, me too. So it's like, I'd be skating around, get to stay in shape. I don't hate that one.
Or what would be your one?
Well, I think the NBA by far, you are viewed as an idiot by the players, by the coaches, and by the fans. Nobody likes NBA officials. I've often said they're on the take. It's because I've been watching these games. I used to gamble on the games. They're miserable. They're just terrible. It's just awful. even if they're trying and maybe they are good at their job, we all think they suck at their job. You're
I
friends
don't.
with a
I
couple,
like
so
them.
you've always defended them.
Yeah.
But
I think the
just
jobs are
think,
very hard. So you would not
I think
do
the job
NBA.
is difficult. Well, I just think it's a no. Who likes you as an NBA official, right? Your peers, right? The people you work around, the players detest you, especially now. Detest. The coaches are always screaming mean shit at you. The fans are always screaming at you.
See, it sucks because being an NBA official, I think would be in terms of just the game you get to be right up next to, would be by far the best one to be on top of. Is an NBA.
Do you agree
game,
though, in
being
terms
on
of the
an NBA
players and
floor.
coaches hate those guys the most? Like you watch some of the football NFL films, like
Yeah,
come on, Bill.
I would say they get hated the most universally, no matter who they are. Like there's a few umpires that get despised, but it's specific guys, right? It's not just all umpires.
Like Angel Hernandez is viewed as a terrible umpire, and he's not good, right?
Right. Or CB Buckner, but there's not. But plenty of umpires are fine. I would love to be an umpire because I feel like I could do it with a much more level head than a lot. Like I wouldn't be yelling at dugouts and stuff, but I would not pick Major League Baseball because standing behind the plate for 3.5 hours looks the worst. There is no chance I'd want to call balls and strikes in a squat, and they get nailed.
Yeah, absolutely nailed. Did it in third when I was in high school, like junior and senior year for AAA. So not even majors in Little League. It was really hard. I mean, you're making split-second decisions. These guys are throwing like 10 miles an hour. I can't imagine what it looks like at 100.
Yeah.
And like part of at least the NBA gets to stay in shape, moving, football moving around. Baseball, I would get really fat. No movement.
Okay, so that takes us then to football. I don't think I'd want to do football.
Nope.
If I was the
wouldn't
head
do any of
referee, maybe, because it's kind of fun to like talk and I'd have to lift, but and then you start thinking niche, like does golf rules official count? How about tennis? You're in the chair all the time, and there's a digital thing that helps you, but it doesn't. What do you?
A lot of anger there.
A lot of anger there.
I don't think being an official is a great job. I mean, people are just so mean to you, and the fans hate you.
And also the rule, like football, the rules are so complicated.
Well, and like anytime you're doing a Belichick game, I'd be really nervous. Like, does he know a rule that I don't know? Like, how do I memorize this thing?
That's why you got Steratore doing TV for college basketball and the NFL. Steratore, I watched him on college basketball the other day. CBS.
Baseball would be the easiest if you never had to rotate behind the home plate, but that's not an option, right?
Just be the left field ump for postseason games.
If you're in a crew, you eventually have to do behind the plate.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
you got me liking hockey a little more because in hockey you can put
I have to pay Guy Haberman to just do one game behind the plate? Just do one Major League Baseball game behind the plate.
Oh God.
Would $10,000 be enough?
I mean, the experience. Like if I really told you you'd get to do it, I'd be terrified. I think.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, part of it is I'd be absolutely terrified.
My body couldn't take it. The beating.
Yeah.
I'd be terrified of getting hit. That's it. I wouldn't be terrified
one shot
of getting
to the
calls
larynx,
wrong.
it could be game over.
It's not about getting it wrong. I wouldn't care about that as much. Once you get the robo on, maybe it's a better job. You're just calling like plays at the plate, and even there, it's a review. We missing any sports? I mean, I'm sure there's a million sports, but
yeah, I just wouldn't want to be official.
Gymnastics judge.
Yeah.
Ice hockey. Ice
dunk
skating.
contest guy, just hold up a 10.
Maybe you're right. Maybe ice hockey's not that bad. Like you get to put them in timeout.
I feel like ice hockey guys are good guys.
Soccer's brutal. You're the only one out there. They're all yelling at you.
A lot of running.
Ton of running.
Soccer might be underrated. Like if you were in good shape and you want to stay in good shape.
How about golf official? There's no. You just go out. You're like, no, you can drop.
Yeah, you get to walk these sweet courses.
You're out there. You're like, I got to play it. I got to just get a feel for it. I got to know what the players are feeling.
You can eat and drink constantly, right? It's like, I want a sandwich as you're walking.
Yeah,
put it down.
Not a lot of fitness going on with the golf, from what I've seen, at least.
I think ice hockey and soccer, if you really wanted to stay in good shape, would be the two best.
And ice hockey,
baseball
would be
the worst.
As someone who hockey would be actually. I used to think no, but now the more I think about it,
you're right. But if part of your job, that role is to be close to the goalie, where all the riffraff's happening,
so
guys taking slap shots,
point down at the line.
The good thing is when guys get in fights, you just let them go. You don't even have to do anything.
Exactly.
They automatically break up when they hit the ground.
Somebody else steps in, one of their teammates or something. Next up, good question. That was a great mailbag question.
It was.
This from JCD. Love the pod. Was wondering if you guys thought of Johnny Manziel trying to become a professional golfer. He's actually a scratch golfer, but I just see it like being too difficult to transition at the professional level. He's almost 30 years old. How old is he?
Yeah, he's 28, 29. He got drafted in 14.
We talked about this a little the other day because you were the one who told me.
I think he said he gave himself 12 years till he was 40. So yeah, I think he's 28.
Yeah, he turned 28 in December. Do I give him a chance? We talked about this little the other day. Has anybody ever jumped to golf?
No. I mean, remember Jerry Rice tried? He shot like 85 at like a Corn Ferry tournament. Romo hasn't sniffed the cut at like the Safeway Open, and I would say Romo would drub Johnny. Listen, one of my brother's best friends, my friend Tyler Raber, who qualified for a U.S. Open, was the number one guy at UC Davis, like won collegiate tournaments, has struggled to, and this guy played in the U.S. Open, the one DJ won at Oakmont. He plays in like the Barracuda and some of the lower PGA tournaments that are around him, and he can't even get close to making the cut. It is so fucking hard. I was watching the live from the players, and they were just talking like, will there ever be another Tiger Woods again? And Justin Leonard just thought like Tiger, the explosion he had for golf, and you see it now how athletic all these kids are. The competition is just out of control. Could Johnny Manziel, like clearly Johnny's a really good golfer, some of these guys over the years, maybe it would have been possible in like the 80s or 90s just based on numbers, and it still was probably, I think sometimes whenever I say that, how hard it would have been to play in any pro sport in the 70s is the equivalent of how hard it is now. Like it's all just relative to the time, right? Like if you played in the NFL in the 70s.
Unless you have a body that was built for the 70s.
Yeah, like if an offensive lineman, you could play guard at 280 and now take, or even like 260 or whatever. Like, yeah, but it's all relative, right? There weren't as many 260-pound people.
I just mean if you're 6'2", it requires more athletic ability to play in the NBA today.
Agreed.
Than it did in 1958.
100%. But were there that many? I bet if we look back, were there that many 6'2" guys like playing in the 80s? Like the 80s are 40 years ago.
No. And even the 70s was an athletic. I mean, and even like, Bill Russell, maybe it never was going to. Maybe the 40s might be the cutoff then.
Exactly. And I think basically most people in our age group, like now, we don't go back to like the 50s and 60s. Like we go to the 80s. 1981 is 40 years ago. Like that to me is a long. In my mind, because I was born in the 80s, doesn't feel that long. That's a long fucking time ago. I think he has no chance. None. And I'm just not betting on Johnny Manziel's stick-to-itiveness, because it's easy to be like, oh, I loved playing golf. Do you understand the dedication like these guys put in? Like it's outrageous, because most of their dedication, like in golf, I think it's football's the same way, is not when you see them playing. They put in so much time, and it's not just, I went out and played 18 holes, threw back 4 Coors Lights. Like, no, it's not that.
Also, it's harder. It's one thing to be a scratch when you're playing casually. It's another thing to play competitively. And
if he did it and earned his way onto the PGA Tour, it'd be one of the most incredible accomplishments ever for an athlete. To go to the NFL, then go play PGA Tour golf.
This is from SoCal J-Mac. Love the Saturday Surprise podcast. All podcasts are Monday through Friday. Own the weekend. If Watson is traded after the draft, is it a guarantee that he'd be a Niner? Niners have the most flexibility and could trade Jimmy to New England. Would you deal 4 first-round picks? We're talking about possible future picks between 29 and 32. Right, so now they've automatically made the conference championship games now. And so they're drafting 29 and 32. I don't agree with the first part of this, that if it's a post-draft trade that he would be guaranteed to be a Niner, because the Niners might have already made their move in the draft. If you tell me right now Deshaun Watson gets traded after the draft, who do you think he goes to? I would not put the Niners at the top of that list. I would put Miami probably at the top of that list. Like, they don't love anyone in this draft more than Tua, so they keep Tua. But then Deshaun becomes available. Okay, now we'll trade. Now we'll make a move off Tua.
Well, it's like any of the teams that take Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, the moment, like if the Jets get Zach Wilson, like they're out of the Deshaun Watson category, right? If the Niners were to take a quarterback in the top 12, like Deshaun Watson is not an option. I also
if they
think
don't and they still have Jimmy, different
yes.
conversation.
If they don't and they still have Jimmy and they use like their 12th and the 43rd pick and they make some moves right now, I'd think about doing 4 first-rounders. Right,
wait.
And so they get to
they
get to stack their team with the draft.
They've already used this year's 12 for themselves.
Yeah. Not opposed. Remember, Deshaun's cap number this year is 10, so it's like you kind of.
This is the year, yeah.
This is the year.
Yeah.
I think the Texans would be pretty nuts to wait till after the draft, right? Wouldn't you want
I
to use
agree.
the
I mean, we've
draft pick?
talked about this. People think that what about his dead cap? Who cares about his dead cap? David Culley is not $20 million in cap space away from taking the Texans to the playoffs.
No.
Did you watch any of that press conference? It's got some Tom Sula vibes. Just like he said one thing, then he was supposed to go back and say something different. And
Listen, I think if it's easy to make fun of Tom Sula, if I would have been a scout for the Niners, I bet Tom Sula, everyone liked him. I worked with David Culley, and he was really cool to me. I'll be the first to say there are some Tom Sula comparisons because, like Jim Tom Sula, he just has no business being a head coach. But I think people are going to make fun of him and everything. It gets to a little bit like if you take a guy, the number 1 overall pick, and he's a terrible player, it's not on the player. This guy should not be a head coach. It's not his fault.
I'm not making
overwhelmed. No, I know you're not.
No,
he is gonna get made. It's gonna be ugly. He's just overwhelmed. Not most people shouldn't be head coaches, but the large majority don't even get the opportunity.
I was watching this.
He's gonna get made fun of a lot.
And it's not even about there was never a debate about whether or not Jim Tom Sula was a good position coach. And I think sometimes we can overstate how good a guy is in the media because the bar, we like to say this, the price of admission for a good press conference is pretty low. You just gotta not get cornered by the media early or stammer or if you've had some experience talking as a coordinator or just being in some awkward situations.
Culley's never been a coordinator.
And you have the power to just be just to kind of say, I'm not talking about that in some realm or another. But I think guys not in that position, they want to answer the questions. They're good guys. They want to they're not trying to get in a fight with anybody, but you back yourself into some corners. He was much more comfortable when I saw him. He actually looked comfortable both times. Kind of the problem. Tom Sula was really comfortable too. I was watching this Ronald Reagan doc a while ago. One of the things they said was, well, first of all, we had to protect him from being himself too much. But the second thing was, by the time he started running for governor of California, he had been in front of the camera doing, first of all, acting, then doing speeches he was going around the country for GE. He had been in front of the camera for 39 years. He was
before he ever became the governor.
He was at an advantage when it came to doing interviews, when it came to being in front, especially now, John, we're talking at a time before everybody, cameras weren't everywhere all the time. Now it's, everyone's
You weren't doing Instagram videos by yourself.
Exactly. So there's just an advantage to being comfortable and confident. You could have two people who are the same amount of qualified for something. One of them's done public speaking for 10 years. One of them's done it for no years. There's just going to be a difference in how the person who has the experience in all likelihood is able to communicate.
Yeah, I agree. There is a value to being a coordinator, not with the Patriots because they don't let their coordinators talk. But Robert Saleh benefits for the last 4 years going to New York, just talking to the media every week.
DeMeco Ryans benefits from being a player, having been interviewed a ton.
100%. And how much will he benefit now doing it as a coach?
Yep.
Right? Tom Sula and Culley never did that. Think about that.
Well,
in their careers.
This is when you say making fun of it is unfair to put people in that position. It's unfair to put people in that position and expect them to be anything. Now, maybe some guys are good at it, but for the most part, it's unfair to expect somebody as the organization.
Well, there were rumors that Tom Sula might have done some backstabbing, so there might have been elements to where I think people around him might have thought he was kind of a fraud. The one thing that's clear about Culley, no backstabbing was done, right? He just waited his time. They interviewed him. He was just a normal position coach. People just liked him.
He wasn't on that staff, right? He didn't push
he had nothing to do with anything. To me, I can just speak for him specifically. Just high character, nice guy. He's the opposite of a ladder climber or whatever. He was just happy to be Andy's assistant head coach for 2 decades. Harbaugh's assistant head coach for 5 years. He's just cool with it. And then they're you want to interview for the head coach? I bet his agent was bro, you got to do this financially. You'll make more in 1 year than you made the last 5. It just makes sense.
Next up.
But I think he's going to just take a lot of shit. I kind of feel bad for what's coming.
Well, I don't I didn't quite realize that was already a discussion that was going on, and I don't want to contribute to cheap shots on that one, John.
I'm taking my fair share of cheap shots.
Mike P. Great, Joe. 5-star. Consistent content. Episodes almost every other day. No fluff, only real fire. Question for the mailbag. What is it about the Raiders that we see such mixed reaction from players? Some love being there and are happy to sign there, and some seem happy to get out. We see a Hall of Fame QB like Watson naming them as Russell Wilson, naming them as a team that he'd go to, and they've been signing and overpaying free agents. You see guys like AB, Trent Brown, Gabe Jackson expressing excitement to leave. I realize they haven't won much in 20 years, but guys get paid, they underperform, then they are happy to leave. Makes sense of it for a Raider fan. Yeah, that's one thing. Like Trent Brown, it's like, dude, give me a break. Get out of here.
But that's part of remember AB when he was released and he ran around the pool?
Yes. Again,
right?
same deal.
But it's like that's part of it's on the Raiders for acquiring these type of players, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think you've seen the reaction to the Royal interview of people taking hard stances on either way. There is under no circumstances do I believe either. I don't know. I have no fucking clue who's telling the truth on any of this stuff. Everyone has their own truth, right? I mean, it's cheesy to say, but it's so true.
I'm always very skeptical. Anyone that's an actor, I'm always very aware of their truth.
Well, 100%. It's why, honestly, when I watched Meghan Markle, I had a red flag the majority of what she was saying. And then some of the comments that are like, whoa, you're all blown back when she says it. And same with Oprah. And then you just realize, like, there's two sides to every story. We see it a lot when guys get in trouble. And then all of a sudden, you see Melvin Gordon the other day, got this DUI. It just got waived. He had to, pay a $300 fine. He's good. So it's like, did the DUI not happen? Is he good? Like, what is the truth?
Josh Jacobs?
But that one, it might have been like he just got in the thing. Melvin Gordon legitimately got a DUI, and it just ultimately got it thrown out somehow. Why? Just because money in the court, but maybe he was sober, maybe he wasn't. I don't know. Like this type of stuff. Trent Brown, his experience there, maybe Gruden said things to him that he didn't like. Vice versa. I don't know. I just think everyone has, again, it's very cheesy to say, has their own truth. Like everyone has their own experience. Some guys are good. Like clearly Derek fucking loves the Raiders. Why? I don't totally know, beside them paying him a lot of money, but he loves it. Trent Brown and AB, it feels like Trent hated it, right? I didn't see Gabe Jackson tweeting anything.
Yeah,
but
I don't.
I think they'd been toying with Gabe for a couple of years about cutting him, right? He'd been talked about trade rumors last year, I think. It'd be human nature. Let's say Gabe Jackson, who, in my experience, like when Jack Del Rio was here, people really liked him. High character, solid. Remember, we talked to him one time, just blue collar, right guard, just feel good about him on your team. If you were Gabe Jackson, all of a sudden you read, well, they think you make a little too much money, they might want to trade you. And you're like, well, I've been a Pro Bowler here. I've been good. I'm just a hike. Everyone likes me here, and they're trying to trade me. Fuck these guys. But just put yourself in his shoes.
It just happens for every organization.
Yeah, it's just human nature.
Yeah. I don't think it's so to answer the question for Mike, I don't think it's a unique, even though it feels personal maybe sometimes, I don't think it's unique to the Raiders.
I think it happens 100% everywhere.
This is from Gino. He said, hey, guys, love the pod. Been listening since 2014.
Long time.
2014. You know what's funny? I talked to somebody the other day who listens, and he was asking me some questions. I said to him, he was like, oh, so how'd you guys, he was just like asking for like the deep background. And I was like, well, the first thing we did was a radio show, and he had no idea. He had no clue. He's just a podcast listener, which is
We've been
awesome.
doing podcasts.
For those of you that have been here since day one, we love you. For those of you who had no idea we did anything before this podcast, that's kind of cool too, right? That's actually really cool.
I like that more.
But the loyalty, John, the loyalty.
Yeah. I like them both.
Got a Niners QB prediction question for you guys. What is your percentage that Jimmy is the quarterback in 2021, and what would be your best guess as to who the quarterback will be? Thanks, Gino. So I used to be, I'm trying to remember where I was, 60-40, he'd be back. My theory has always been it's just hard to replace quarterbacks. You say you want to replace a guy, but you got to have the replacement for him. I feel like now I'm below 50-50 that Garoppolo's back. Should I go 40-60 the other way or 30-70 the other way? I got a hard time. How about you?
I'm going 20% Jimmy. I'm going to go 60% Justin Fields. And I'm going to do 20% Deshaun Watson.
No percentage for Sam Darnold.
Okay, let me do 20 Jimmy, 60 Fields, 10-10 Watson Darnold.
I'll go. I like the way you're doing it better than just a Jimmy thing. I'll go
Watch
a
it be
little.
like Mac Jones.
I'll go. Yeah,
Be like Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I'll go a little higher on Jimmy. You said 20. I'll go 20. I'll allot 25 to Jimmy. I'll allot 45. See, so you start doing weird numbers. I'll allot 40 to Justin Fields. That's 65. I'll go. I saw Grant Cohn tweet this the other day. He's like, "Oh, kind of weird. 5 different people all of a sudden think Kyle Shanahan likes Sam Darnold at the same exact time. Interesting." So I'll go 10% Darnold. So now I got 25% left. I'll go. I'll go.
Yours is way too complicated.
I know. I can make up the math, and no one will be like, "No, you only added up to 93%." I'll give the rest to Mac Jones, whatever that is.
I think Garoppolo is the quarterback of the New England Patriots next year.
Yeah,
what are their other options?
Put it that way. I think the percentage that he's their quarterback is higher than the percentage that he's Niners quarterback.
Totally.
What would be the percentage that he's on somebody else, that he's not a Niner or a Patriot?
I think that if you give me the tweet, like if you gave me the tweet, the Patriots have traded Jimmy Garoppolo, right? That it's going to be pretty eye-opening to read the tweet, but it's understandable. You give me any other team fill in there, that would be pretty shocking.
Jimmy Garoppolo's a Texan.
Yeah, or the Washington football teamer or something, right? Be like, damn.
Podcast question from Dylan. Habes, do you play golf? Middle, what's your golf bucket list? I'm talking as a fan or a player. Like play Cypress or St. Andrews, watch Masters in person, drink a Michelob Ultra with Phil the Thrill. That's mine. Shoot a round under par or record an ace. Also, what's your handicap? Love the pod. I don't give 2 rips about Bay Area sports. I live in Alaska, but you guys have the best football pod out there. Keep it up. Much love, my brethren. Dylan. I love that this reads like a letter. You know, tell me your favorite things. What's your favorite flavor? I like cherry. Do you like blue? I love this letter, Dylan. So let's go through them one at a time. First question was to me, do you play golf? Yes. Not well. I didn't start playing golf probably until college. I got super into it like during the pandemic, the shutdown. I was up to playing like 3 days a week. Yeah, so yes is the short answer to that.
I think Haberman's got a lot of upside at golf. I mean, they can get one. He's got clubs that are a decade old. You gotta get some new clubs. Your short game,
Callaway
you do
X22s.
just have natural touch. Like you have short game of a single-digit handicapper.
I appreciate
So you get some new clubs. Your short game's going to translate. You just got to hit the ball a little farther. You got to get a couple legit lessons.
I've had one lesson in my life. Mike Watney, thank you very much.
Yeah, Nick's cousin or Nick's uncle.
Heidi's dad.
I would say. Yeah, I mean, I think Haberman's got upside.
I've beaten Middlecoff once. It happened during the pandemic. John was very angry. Corica Golf Course. It came down to the 18th hole. We played 18 holes. Obviously, that's how many you play. I got a stroke on like 15 of the holes. I hit the green with my approach shot on 18 and sealed the deal because I stroked on that hole. Other than that, Middlecoff kicked my ass through most of the pandemic, and maybe we'll play next week.
I'd say my bucket list: Cypress, St. Andrews. The stuff over there is just too cold.
I don't know, too windy.
It just honestly that doesn't appeal. I'm not saying I would turn it down.
Yeah.
If I knew rich people that would fly me over there. I don't know if I'd actively if I was going to go over there, I might bring my clubs. I'm not actively seeking that out. I would say going to the Masters is something I will do in my life, attending the event. I've seen enough people in doing what we do say it's a special experience. And so, yeah, I mean, that would probably be my bucket. My bucket list actually is to play a lot of golf in other Florida. I think this TPC, Sawgrass, the course they concession, medalists, Jordans. I actually think the Florida golf fucking world and South Carolina, where Myrtle Beach is, and whatever that tournament they're playing the PGA Championship this year. I forget the name of it.
It's not at Kiowa.
Yeah, that one, kind of that whole area. I would like to play in the South golf.
What's been your Hawaii course? Have you played?
Resorts in Maui. I mean, nothing too crazy. I haven't played. My little brother's played, the tournament, Kapalua. It's pretty sweet.
And then there's also they used to have that. Do they still have that? What was it? The Mercedes-Benz or whatever it was at Turtle Bay.
Yeah, you got to play Pebble Beach. I've never played Pebble Beach.
Yeah, but we went. That I mean, that's.
I've been there a lot. I've never played.
What did we play? With Jet, your brother, was it?
Spyglass. That was sweet.
Yeah, Spyglass was great.
I'd say Pebble Beach is a bucket list for me.
This is a
I
great
mean, I
question.
could. It's just you got to play free. It's hard to I don't want to pay $500.
Yeah, I understand. Shoot a round under par or record an ace. I know what I would do.
I've never done either, so I mean,
I'd go around under par.
yeah, it'd be pretty sweet.
Because to me, the thing about golf is just you're out there for 4 hours. Like if you can be good for 4 hours, that's really hard.
It's for as cool as an ace would be as someone that's never had one. There is a huge element of luck, right? Shooting under par is just incredible accomplishment do that for 18
Yeah,
holes.
that's the question.
I've never really got close because I can't. I have stretches where I'm like 5 under for 8 holes and you blow up. I mean, it's just hard to play 18 holes. 18 holes is hard.
Do I shoot under par and then go back to shooting 92s? Because that would be hard for me to stomach. I'll take the ace if that's what happens. Also, what's your handicap? I'm a strong 18, John. I had it down to a 17. You can check it. I'm in the books. My GHIN or whatever the hell it's called. What are you these days? Gin.
Yeah. I'm a 6, but I mean, I've had a rough 2020, but my guy Jake, if you want to suck less, drive box, check it out.
I got to go see him.
Got me right. So I feel like I could be a 2 tomorrow.
I follow Jake on IG. I got to go see Jake.
Fantastic hair and just a great teacher. Gave me a great chipping tip.
What was it?
Can't tell. I don't want everyone else to be good too.
Like
You're already a good chipper. Don't worry about
Mickelson shares. Mickelson's not too insecure to tell.
I'm not sharing until I feel very comfortable that it works too.
Okay, I think those are all the questions. Great questions, Dylan. Also, one other thing. Every 8 months, somebody's like, these guys delete negative reviews. I can barely find the reviews. Every time we do a mailbag, it's a chore. That's the one. I love the mailbag. The one thing is I can't on my phone. I can't see the reviews that I can see on my computer. I can't see the reviews that John can see. The last thing I could do is delete a review. So whatever.
Yeah, the guy was a hater.
But I can promise you, I cannot delete a review if I wanted to. Otherwise, I'd delete that review. If there's any review I delete, it'd be the one that claims we delete reviews.
Completely agree.
All right. Have a
adios.
Great weekend, everybody. Thanks for checking out the weekend mailbag, and tell your friends. We always appreciate that.
See ya.